Hey guys, and welcome back to another one. Hope you are all okay on that side of the screen. Now, on the past we have tested the MX3 and the MX4 Android TV boxes, and today we've got here the MX5. Now, we can consider the MX5 their little brother, and with no further ado, let's test it out. So here we are with the Android TV box MX5 that features the Amlogic S805, the Mali 450 quad-core, 1GB of DDR3 RAM and 8GB of NAND flash storage. Regarding the unboxing experience, once we open the box, we will find at the top the MX5, as we can see on screen, a HDMI cable, a power adapter, which in this particular case is for US, so I'll be using my socket adapter for European Union, a AV or RCA cable, a infrared remote that we will be testing later on the video, and finally a user guide. Taking a closer look at the MX5, at the front we will find a dim red light when the device is off, and when we turn it on we will find a blue light which is not very dim. It actually can bother our eyes, especially if you place it on a bedroom or any other dark environment. On the left hand side we will find no ports at all, while on the right side we will find one microSD slot and 4 USB 2.0 slots. At the back we will have the rest of the necessary ports, being the DC in, Ethernet connection, HDMI, optical out and AV output. On the bottom we will see 4 rubber feet and those vents that will let the air in, helping to cool down the machine, while at the top we will find the MX5 logo and a very well located power button. Regarding the infrared remote control included, it actually has a nice range and also works fine, as you can see on screen, but once we get on a wider angle then it will not capture the signal as any other remote control by infrared. Now, my advice is always to get a wireless remote control, which will give you a much better experience and also will give you air mouse capability, which is very handy. And what we are seeing on screen is the default launcher pre-installed on this machine, which is not new for us here on the channel, as we have tested other machines on the past with this same launcher. Now, it is a bit limited on the customization side, but very user-friendly. But being an Android machine, you can install any launcher, and one of my favorites still is, at the moment of the recording, as you can see on screen, is the KK KitKat launcher. Regarding Diskspeed test, we are getting 24 megabits per second on reads and 11 megabits per second on the writes. And to better compare, here it is the time that it takes to open an app, for example Kodi, and shutting down that app. Regarding the network speed test, we are getting on Wi-Fi 40 megabits per second on download and 20 megabits per second on upload. And through the Ethernet connection, we are getting roughly 78 megabits per second of download speed and 20 megabits of upload speed. Which, by the way, the power line adapters that I'm using at this moment are the Devolo power line adapter kit with gigabit connection and Wi-Fi AC. And if you want to check a full review, it's available on the channel. Just check out the YouTube card on the right top corner of this video. On Geekbench 3 we got a single core score of 373 and a multi-core score of 856. On Antuntu, roughly 20,000 of overall score, and on 3D Mark Ice Storm Extreme, a overall score of 2,600. Finally, on Epic Citadel we got an average score of 45.7 frames per second. And before we move on, I have to point out something that it's obvious here, which is the firmware forcing some of the most demanding apps, in this case benchmarks, at 720 and then upscaling to 1080, which is the native output, as we can see on the TV info. And other than on benchmarks, this situation did not affect any game or app like Kodi, but I would like to see this limitation fixed, as this should be a user choice and never a firmware choice, at least on my opinion, of course. Regarding gaming, as we know, the Amlogic S805 is not the best CPU-GPU combination for games, but for light games like Beach Buggy, Angry Birds, Turbo Fast and similar games will work just fine, as we can see on screen. In terms of video playback, the MX5 comes with Kodi version 14, which works just fine, but I also installed the latest version available at the moment of the recording, of course, which is the Kodi 14.2, and the feedback here is that it works flawlessly. And the movies tested were the Big Bunny at 1080p and also Tears of Steel at 1080p, which, by the way, all credits are due down below on the video description. But getting back to the point, even when we fast forward or rewind, the device is very responsive, so a great experience in streaming. And to test out the mirroring capabilities of the MX5, I'm using the Airpin Pro app as usual on all my testings. And as we can see on screen, both the iPhone 4S and the iPad mini with Retina display work just fine on mirroring and also on streaming videos while we keep on working on these mobile devices. And to finish up this review, here we are mirroring my wife's Imac that contains all our photo library, and we use the photo app to stream live slideshows on the fly to our TV. Now, the results were as expected for a machine with the Amlogic S805, and they are the first slideshow that we are seeing on screen right now. Just plays fine. It is a light slideshow, so both picture and audio just works great. But on the second slideshow and on the third, which are a bit more demanding, then the box will not handle it correctly, especially on the picture. The audio was perfect on all of them, but the picture, as you can see, it has some glitches and some freezes that it's not a pleasant experience to watch these heavy slideshows on this machine. So in conclusion, guys, things that I did like the most were the price for the performance that we get, the overall design of the box, the power button very well located on the top, and lastly, a very smooth video playback experience. Now, on the other hand, things that I did like the less were the resolution forced at 720 on some of the apps, the blue light being a bit strong to be placed on a bedroom, and lastly, mirroring high bitrate files can be a bit problematic. And that is it regarding the MX5 Android TV box review. Hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did so, don't forget that thumbs up over there. My name is Roberto Jorge, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.